Meeting of the Whittier Regional Vocational Technical High School for Wednesday, May the 13th at 7 p.m. I think our first order of business will salute the American flag. Will you please rise? Mr. Murphy will lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First order of business is public comment by visitors. Does anybody wish to approach the school committee and make a public comment? I don't see anybody here. Okay. Move on to the next order of business. Approval of minutes. We have the April 8th, 2015 minutes of the public hearing on the FY 2016 budget.
Mr. Chairman, I move
Yes.
the approval of April 8th minutes.
Second. Any comments, questions on the minutes? None being heard. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, I
Yes,
move
sir.
the approval of April 8th minutes of the regular school committee meeting.
Second. Are there any comments or questions on these minutes? None being heard. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. The treasurer's report.
I'll move to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
Any questions on the treasurer's report? None being heard. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. In the old business, we have the school committee self-evaluation. Still missing a few of the self-evaluation, so I'm going to wait until the June 10th meeting, and I'll give a report on all those that I have. So Lisa will be contacting you to help you try to get them in, and I can tabulate it. Okay. Reports and communications. Mr. Bradley.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Superintendent DeRosa, and all other school committee members, including new student representative Saffron Fox. The baseball team has clinched a berth to the state tournament. With a record of 10-4, they are fighting for a CAC title and home field advantage in the playoffs. Some dominant pitching and powerful hitting has carried the team so far this season. The softball team has also clinched a berth to the state tournament. With an undefeated record of 13-0, they also look up to wrap up the CAC title. With some tough games to close the season, including some against Division I schools, the team looks to prove they are a top contender. The track and field teams are off to an impressive season. The girls' team is currently 5-1. 2 girls have already smashed 3 school records in their events. The boys' team is undefeated with a record of 6-0. One runner on the boys' team broke the school record for the 400-meter hurdles. Both teams to look to finish the season strong and to be top contenders at the CAC meet as well as the state meet coming up soon. The lacrosse team is looking to be in good shape for a state tournament berth. With an 8-5 record, they are only 2 wins away from a tournament spot. Coming down the stretch will be important to win league games in order to contend for a CAC title. The Yearbook Club has completed their edition of the 2015 yearbook. It is currently being printed and delivery is expected by the end of the week. Yearbooks will be distributed to seniors at a luncheon on graduation day. They would like to thank everyone who helped in the school-wide effort to complete the project. The Peer-to-Peer Club is preparing for the annual Relay for Life event. The event will take place at Northern Essex Community College on June 12th, 13th, and 14th. This will be the 3rd year Whittier has participated. The event raises money to support the American Cancer Society. Whittier has won awards in the past for their effort and hard work. The Multicultural Club will be setting up a table in the cafeteria on May 21st in observance of the United Nations designated day for cultural diversity. The initiative is to do one thing for diversity and inclusion. The club encourages all members of the Whittier community to do one thing for diversity and inclusion during the month of May. The Chorus Club continues to meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays to practice a cappella tunes. 4 seniors are prepared to sing the national anthem at graduation this year. Plans for next year's musical are also being considered. The Model United Nations debate team is preparing for an upcoming debate this weekend at Northeastern University. Members have partnered up with peers to represent their designated country at the conference. The Environmental Club has had a very successful year with its paper recycling efforts. The Key Club attended the annual Key Club Conference, where members were able to make new friends and share experiences with other schools and clubs. They hope to use some of the ideas they picked up from others. Members also helped spread bark mulch at the Winnie Playground and planted flowers at the planting area near the flagpoles here at Whittier. This Saturday, members will be giving tours to the parents of the incoming freshmen. New officers were pinned, including 1 junior and 4 freshmen. On behalf of the senior class, I would like to thank the committee for all that you do for this wonderful school. We are so lucky and thankful to have school committee members that are dedicated and committed to making Whittier a place of enriched learning and endless possibilities. We really appreciate all of your efforts. I would also like to thank and congratulate Superintendent DeRosa on his retirement. Over your 8-year tenure, you have built one of the top vocational schools in Massachusetts. You and the school committee are a large part of this school's ongoing success. The future of Whittier and students looks promising. That's all I have for you today.
Very good.
Very
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is an appreciation of your dedication from the school committee to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good luck in the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
Scented soaps and,
How about that?
Okay, at this time, on the reports communications, we have the Honorable Police Chief from Haverhill here to address the school board and guests.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to briefly address the board. Superintendent DeRosa called me last month in regard to several questions that may have come up about how we bill out our police officer for the school. I was a little surprised, and when we spoke, it was very easily cleared up. You have, as you would expect, a senior trained police officer on staff here at the school, just like I have at the schools in Haverhill, the high school and one of the middle schools. Per contract, we have to pay a particular way, as do you, as do other police departments, based upon the way the contracts are written. For a police officer, like Officer Landry, the pay is $74,452.45 for his salary for the year. I believe we bill the VOTEC $73,500 this year for those services. So I'm not sure what the issue is. So we're willing to address any questions that the board has.
Mr. Wood.
I have a question. And I actually had a question relative to the base salary versus the total salary on what we're out. So I did get the city provided me with a copy of the contract, the collective bargaining agreement. So I assumed the highest, that this individual was at the highest step of the scale, which is $1,034.82 per week. I also assumed they had a master's degree, so I bumped the salary by 25% to the base on that. I also assumed that they had 25 years of service, and I gave them the longevity of $1,200. And that brought me to a yearly base salary of $67,263. If I add in the longevity, it brought me to $68,463. Now, we only have them 180 days. Obviously, as a 5 and 2 officer, they would work 260 days. So their per diem would be $263.32. If that was assuming top of the scale on everything, and obviously they're only here 180 days.
Why do you think they're only here 180 days?
That's all we're in service.
You don't have summer school?
We do have a summer school
My
program.
officer's here for your summer school program.
Just for the small summer school program, we use them year-round?
You use them.
Okay.
Yes, that's number one. Number two, if you check the collective bargaining agreement, you will notice that there is a differential in there for the top pay officer. And that is Comes out to about $10.35 a week, which is on top of the figures that you've already quoted, which would bring that salary to $55,476.20. And if you add in the master's degree, which the officer has that's here, that's another $13,869.05, which brings that salary, well, as long as you're going through the contract, the officers are paid for their fifth and sixth week. As you know, officers work 4 on, 2 off.
Yep.
Officers that work a fifth and sixth week are paid time and a half on the fifth and sixth week. So that would be another $51,0720, which brings the salary to $74,452.45.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out, is the salary yearly versus if we, are we getting them basically year-round, 260 days as,
You get them whenever you want them.
okay,
And we do our best to provide services to the school, as we do to the city schools. And it's very hard for us to keep an officer on staff and say, well, we're going to fund them for 130 days or 180 days, or 210 out of 365, and we're not going to pay for the weekends and holidays or anything else, because when we dedicate an officer to the school, he has to be replaced on the road. And he's not replaced on a Monday to Friday schedule. They're replaced on a 4 and 2 schedule, because that's how the shifts work. So it's not a cut and dried thing. You have to kind of look at the whole picture and make a determination based upon, do you get the value? If you do not believe you get the value, then you don't take a police officer here at the school.
right.
I mean, I don't know what else to say,
No,
but
that makes perfect sense to me, and I was trying to figure out I didn't know if it's just the city that billed us, or if it was you that billed us directly, if it was like a similar to a city charge where the city says.
my administrative assistant, Pat Noonan, does the billing for the schools. We've been dealing with Kara since I came here in 2002, and the billing comes back to our budget because we have to backfill for the officers, so it comes back to us. It's not a charge-off. Same thing with the school department, the Haverhill School Department. As a matter of fact, as a result of this, we actually found out that we were underbilling the school department.
Because it was a big.
So we are doubling the bill to the school department, so I thank you for that.
Well, I don't have any I don't have any problem with
That did help me out quite a bit, so I am kind of relieved.
I don't have a problem. I was just looking for the consistency. If that's what it is, then
And we
that's
do
what
have
we
it
should
now,
pay.
so that is good. And I would say this, I've been the chief here since 2002, and I dealt with Karen Sarkeesian before Bill took over, Mr. DeRosa, and we've always had a great relationship. We are as transparent as we can be. There isn't a person in this room who can't call my office and say, you know what, I got a question about this, or this, and how do you figure that, or what are you doing here? As well as the superintendent, who I speak to on a regular basis. Same thing with Kara. So I don't want you to think that you have to wait for a board meeting to kind of ask these types of questions, or anything you have, whether it be about drugs, gangs, our enforcement activities, things that we're doing with the school resource officers to kind of get them prepared for what they're going to face when they deal with children or students in the schools, and the unique issues that they face. Anything you have, any questions you have, we like to consider ourselves cutting edge when it comes to how we deal with children in schools. And we don't just dump officers in schools that we don't believe are going to be able to excel, and are going to be not only good role models to these students, but they're going to be able to have an impact on what these students are trying to accomplish. So we're very proud of that. We will continue to work with this school as partners as long as you would like us to. And again, if there's anything I can do or any questions that I can answer, we would be happy to come to these meetings as often as you like.
Thank you. I just had one quick follow-up, and I thank you for clarifying that, because
Sure.
When I asked it at the last meeting, there really wasn't a clear
Yeah, I didn't
answer
think
on
they
that.
would, unless you have our contract, and even I go through the contract, and I'm not sure half the time what we're supposed to pay and not.
Yeah.
So that's why it's very confusing. When you look at the contract, you look at the base pay, and you were right, it comes out to, well, what you didn't add is that starting July 1, there's a 1.5% bump in there for their
Yeah,
pay.
I
So
did see
that kind of all goes up again also, but if you didn't know about the differential, and what the differential is, I used to get hazard pay and uniform pay and all of that, and that's now all rolled in as part of their salary. It's not given as as
They
a
bumped
check.
$26.50 or something, like, I
So
did see that in there.
that's how that comes out to that number.
I was just, when I was doing it, I was doing the calculations, I thought it, based off 180 days, or even if we, that's how I didn't, and so that was why I asked the question. One second question, not
Sure.
budget related, but what you had mentioned, that I think is important for the coming school years for kids is, as you know, we face here locally and throughout the state of Massachusetts, a severe heroin epidemic. Are the
Right.
officers, are we going to be able to potentially roll in some education that they can come in and talk to some of the kids about some of what's going on? I mean, because obviously Haverhill has an issue, as you know, and we're trying to address that in multiple phases. And it's not just Haverhill, it's everywhere.
Absolutely, it's
And
a
I
huge
think-
problem.
And I know it's the high school here, and I know it's important to get the kids at a young age, because sometimes it can be too late by the high school. They're already in the pills or whatever that they're using. So
Right.
is there any type of thought to what we can do at that level where it is such a big community issue?
Well, actually, there is, and if it's the board's pleasure and the superintendent's, we can sit down with, I'm sure you have somebody that develops your curriculums.
Yes.
And if they want to put something together that we can do, whether it be at an assembly or with individual class or with particular students that the school department feels would benefit the most, we can absolutely put something together that is contoured to what you feel would work and how we feel would be the best approach to present it. So, yes, that's absolutely something
think
we can
that's
do.
very
And you would
important.
be cutting edge if you were to do that, because I don't believe that's something that anybody is really doing right now. So that would be something that we would be out in the front on.
I would absolutely like, if the committee likes doing the superintendent, I think that that's something that's just very important. You see too many young kids that's lives are being torn apart, or you're seeing them in the obituaries, quite frankly, as you know well,
I
Chief.
probably see 7 to 10 on average overdoses come across my desk every week. So we do have a big problem, and it's something that we need to address. And a lot of these overdoses or the heroin use, we find that whether there be children with them in vehicles or in apartments or that type of thing, it's not like this is just single people or people without children that are doing these things. So it is impacting school-age children up through high school. So that is something that is absolutely on point and that we can do.
All right, I think that would, and I hope the committee, and the reason why I mentioned that is we brought a speaker into the Haverhill schools, and one of the girls that was 12 years old started crying, ran out of the room, and she went up to the speaker after and hugged him, and she
Finish that
overdosed.
up so we get,
So that's why I want to
Yeah.
really try to, if we could work together on a
We
program.
absolutely, and all our police officers carry Narcan, all the fire department trucks have Narcan, school resource officer has Narcan, and, it's at the point where that's become another tool that we use on a daily basis. So, yeah, we do have a problem in this country. I wouldn't say it's a Haverhill problem, or it's an Essex County problem, or it's a New England problem. It's far greater than that, but it's something that we are all dealing with across the country, and it's something that we absolutely need to get in front of.
Thank you for clarifying my
Thank you.
question.
thank you. Any other comments or questions for the
I
chief?
just have one quick one.
Yes, Mr. Burley.
Chief, you have a great staff.
Thank you.
They've done great down here. I can remember hearing this, and I think it was Chief Brady at the time, some 15, 16 years ago when I came on. And the other advantage is we also have a cruiser thrown in there too, which is a big thing. But I want to commend your staff because 15, 20 years ago, we had 2 officers down here most of the time, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct, Mr. Superintendent?
That's correct.
Officer Hardy and Officer
Moses, yes.
So we've come a long way, and, we're on a pedestal right
Right.
now, Scott, and the whole board. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm proud of them.
Thank
I
you.
want to thank you.
Thank you. So am I. So am I.
Mr. Tuck, no?
No, you answered the question. I just wanted to say that I'm satisfied with the pay of the officer. That's fine, and I also would want to hear some of the more positive things that your resource officer does. We're all aware of the horror stories, but I know that they also do good things and trying to, I wonder if you can just sort of
Well, I
30
actually,
seconds or less, you
I
know?
would probably defer great stories to the superintendent and his staff, but I will tell you that one of the things that we encourage them to do is every opportunity for mentoring, take it, use it. Use everything as a teaching opportunity that you can. So that's kind of hammered into our school resource officers on day one. We understand and we want to make sure that they know that everybody's looking at them, everybody watches them, and the way they carry themselves, the things they do are going to be pivotal in how they're able to perform and how they're viewed. So that's important to us. As far as the great things, usually they don't come back and kind of tell me. There's a lot of layers between them and me, so a lot of times I don't get to a lot of FaceTime with the SROs, but I know that the superintendent can tell you, because if they're not happy, I expect them to tell me, he's not really doing his job, or he's just hanging around, or we're not getting the bang for our buck. And if that ever happens, I will tell you this, and the superintendent knows this, and Karen before that, I have no problem in bringing a new team in. If you're not, this is a specialty job. This is a coveted position. This is a great job. And if you're going to have this job, then you're going to perform. You're going to perform here. The bar is high. So this is not a skating job. This is not where you go before you retire. This is where you go to make a difference. Because as we all know in this room, you're all here for the same reason. Our children are the future. And if we don't do right by them now, we're going to have a problem later on. So we're here to help.
I just
Thank
want
you.
to say
Thank
one
you.
just
Thank
one quick thing, Mrs. DeRosa. Chief, and I know for a fact that the resource officer here is more than a resource officer. He has an unbelievable rapport with the kids, the students, even to the fact that they look at a person that they can even bring family issues to and know they're gonna get the straight scoop, help outside the school. So as you said, you've raised the bar, and it's really telling it in the school.
I will say this,
Commend
the
yours-
kids today, my son is 19, he graduated Essex Aggie about a year ago, so they know whether or not you're sincere or not as an adult. They see through you in about 3 seconds. They have very good radar for that. So you really have to walk the walk 100%, and it's important that that's happening. So, we appreciate the feedback if we're not meeting expectations in some manner. We want to know. We want to know we're doing a great job. We want to know we're not doing a great job. We want to know if there's things we can improve. It's like Mr. Wood said, if we can come up with a program to deal with some of the heroin issues and educationally, we're in. We want to do it.
Great. Mr. DeRosa, final
If I
comment.
can, yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to thank Chief DeNaro and the staff at the police department, because I think, and it's something that Principal Lynch always talks about, the fact that when students feel safe, when it's an environment that students and staff feel safe in, then learning thrives. And I think that the Haverhill Police Department has been an essential component of Whittier's success, and very much part of Whittier's success. And the chief and I have always had very open, consistent, constant communication. Anytime he's called me or I've called him, it's immediate phone calls back. And again, I would like to publicly thank you and thank the members of your staff and your school resource officers, because we certainly have benefited from it.
And I do eat here at It's In, so I do get the opportunity sometimes to see the superintendent on occasion unexpectedly, but, so I know the building. I live around the corner from the school here, so I'm always in the area, and it's a great school. We're very happy to have it here. I think you guys are leaders in what you're doing and how you're putting the programs out, and we're just very fortunate, so thank all of you for what you do.
And thank you very much.
Thank you. Chief. Moving on to the reports of communications, we now have the outstanding vocational student.
Mr. Chairman, William Yamin, if you'd like, why don't you go up to the podium, Bill? William Yamin is the son of William and Janet Yamin. He's excelled in the computer-aided design program at Whittier Tech, where his leadership qualities have led him to pursue and achieve numerous goals and accomplishment. He's ranked third in a class of 294 with a GPA of 4.22 in an honors curriculum. William was inducted into the National Technical Honor Society his sophomore year and is a John and Abigail Adams Scholarship winner for his MCAS performance. He participates in our cooperative education program and is employed as a drafter at Chesterton Industries. Bill's ability to lead others is inspiring. He has been a student representative to the Whittier School Council as well as student government for the past 3 years, a Mass Stars Leadership winner, a Skills USA participant, and president of the Key Club. In addition, he is a disciplined student athlete who was captain of both our national sectional finalist football team and outdoor track team. William's been accepted at UMass Lowell, Western New England Worcester Polytechnical Institute, and Wentworth universities. And that's Mr. Yamin. I'd like to give him a letter on our behalf.
Yes.
Good for you.
Congratulations.
Next, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
We have Emma Bowens-Hahn. Emma, do you want to come up to the podium? Emma is the daughter of Anka Bowes-Hahn, is a studious, diligent student majoring in design and visual communications. She strives to reach her full potential and continuously projects leadership qualities. Emma is a member of the Whittier Yearbook Club. She plays a large role in production of the school yearbook, and she is a quality control manager, archivist, photographer, and layout artist. Her instructor considers her the glue of the project. In addition, she has produced the Whittier Class Senior 2015 T-shirt. She's ranked second in a class of 294, and she has an overall grade point average of 4.27, excelling in all honors curriculum since her freshman year. Emma is employed as a lifeguard, swim instructor, and events coordinator at the YMCA of North Shore in Haverhill. She's been accepted to University of Massachusetts Lowell's Francis College of Engineering with a major of chemical engineering.
Wow.
And that's Emma.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Very impressive.
Nothing like a Kemi.
Mr. Chairman, we also have someone who you already know. We have Connor Bradley, who has distinguished himself as a hardworking, well-rounded, and remarkably dedicated student majoring in electrical at Whittier. He's ranked #1 in a class of 294 students for the class of 2015. Connor distinguishes himself in many ways. He's president of the class of 2015, the student representative to the school committee, and a representative for the Northeast Regional Student Advisory Council. Connor is a 3-season athlete and co-captain of each team, varsity football, basketball, and baseball. He's been a Boston Globe Player of the Week and a CAC All-Conference student. In addition, he is a Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership member, a peer mediator, member of the Interact Club, and a Skills USA competitor. He also volunteers with several community organizations. Connor plans to pursue a degree in business and has been accepted to Villanova University, University of Connecticut, UMass Amherst Honors Program, UMass Lowell, St. Anselm's, and University of New Hampshire. Connor will be attending Villanova University in the fall, and Connor is the son of Kevin Bradley, our athletic director. Thank you.
Congratulations to all of you. It's wonderful.
And now,
Mr. Chairman?
if the wish of the committee, I would like to take out of order the subcommittee reports, the recommendation for superintendent. I need a motion for that.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion on that?
Could I,
Yep.
rationale?
Yes.
Part of the rationale is we have not accepted the superintendent's letter of resignation, and the executive committee did the other night. We accepted Bill's letter of resignation with regret, but we have to move that to the full committee. So as part of the executive committee report, that would be the first vote that we need to discuss. But anyway, on the motion.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes, I was here the night of the interviews, and a couple things I didn't quite think was right. First thing was the questions that were asked of the applicants were provided by Mike Gilbert. They weren't questions that were a ride by a committee sitting down, coming up with their own thoughts, their own ideas, what their next superintendent should be able to answer for questions. I don't think it was right that, we took a template and used it as is. I think it was just an idea that should have been used for the
Well,
committee to come up with their own questions. So the substance of the questions, some of them I feel were redundant. The other thing that I brought from this was when I was watching the process take place, I said, we have 5 people on this board who's gonna make a decision of who our next superintendent's gonna be, when we have 11 towns in this community.
That's not true. Through the chair, if I might.
Right, that's not true.
The executive committee is made up of the various subcommittees, and what we do, we voted what we voted to bring to you. We cannot decide it. So, when, number one, we had a motion,
Explain that, please. You cannot decide it.
we didn't make a final decision.
We didn't make a
moved to
decision.
bring it to the full committee.
Right, and what that does, my point I'm making is, you had 3 candidates come to your committee, interview, you got to see the pros and cons. You're bringing one for the rest of us to see. And that's denying the rest of the towns who weren't represented there to see the full package, to see who's available to us as a superintendent. We're getting one brought forward and said, this is the one we support, please consider this one here. And I think that doesn't do justice to the full board, full committee. This is my opinion. This is not something I'm trying to push on every one of you.
Well-
But I want you to consider that there was only 3 applicants. Normally, in a situation like this, there's 25 to 35 applicants. They're reduced down.
Let's.
Mr. Chair, point of order. Didn't you make a motion?
Yeah,
All right, and did someone second it?
Not yet.
yeah, Tony
Yes.
seconded.
All right.
Well,
There's a
that-
motion
that'll
on the
come under
floor.
discussion.
Speak to the motion.
Right. Let me move forward here to kind of set the record straight. We did, a while back, I think before you were a member of the, appointed member, the entire committee deliberated and voted to have an internal search. So that was approved by the full board, majority of the members here. So the school committee did move forward, and in the interim, Mr. Wood and yourself were appointed, and at the last last meeting, Mr. Wood brought up the fact that he would like to make another motion to disband the original motion and go immediately to an outside search.
Right.
That was voted down by the entire school board that was here, so we proceeded with the original motion. That's the part of the record. The second part, so then we did advertise internally for candidates. 4 candidates presented their applications, and upon analysis of their qualification, one of the candidates was disqualified, didn't have all the qualifications. One of the candidates did not really have 100% of the qualifications. His license for superintendency was pending, but the board decided that we would interview that individual anyway, which we did. So the 3 of them came before the board, executive committee, of which all members were allowed to attend and ask questions. So as far as the questions that we asked, these were not from Mike Gilbert. These were typical questions that the MASC, which we are a member of and pay dues every year, presented to us to look over. Of those questions, we chose 14 of them. So
How many
it
questions
was
total were there?
probably, my pack was 45
So you
pages.
picked 14 of the 45?
We felt that would be enough within the time span. If you'd like to get a copy of the packet, it was 45 pages of what you're looking for, how to go about it, and this is something that's represented by the MASC, which we are a member of. Then we invited the candidates here. which they all came, and we asked these questions. Legally or ethically, it's important to ask each candidate the same question, so there's no different interpretations. And at the end, we allow any members that wish to be here to ask a personal question, of which several members did. After that, the executive board unanimously looked over all the candidates. We had an open discussion, and they chose, they had two options. One, they could say, of the three candidates, none of them will be presented to the entire board, or one or two of them. They decided on one. We then, the executive board did vote, it was unanimous to bring forth to the entire board for approval. That's a recommendation. That is not take it or leave it. If the entire board decides not to approve this particular individual, then the individual is not hired. So it's up to the entire school board. So all the 11 communities are represented by the school committee right here. So, you know, this isn't a fact that you are appointed to act for Whittier, also in the best interest of your community. So you, in my mind, are the representative, as Mr. Wood and Mr. Early are represented from Haverhill. So they're probably, I'm hoping, are acting in the best interest for Whittier first, because this is where we are, but also for the entire community. So based on that, the executive board tonight is prepared to recommend and to move that Ms. Lynch be appointed superintendent of schools for Whittier Regional Vocational Technical High School, subject to a successful negotiation of a contract of employment mutually agreeable to the candidate and the school committee. That's the motion.
Second.
Second. Based on the protocol of appointing a superintendent, a simple majority of members present on a roll call vote is needed. So just a brief reasoning of why the members of the executive board
Simple majority.
came forth to bring this one candidate is that mainly for four reasons. All three candidates were well-received, had some very good qualifications and some good background. The executive board felt that Ms. Lynch's qualifications were of the highest above the other two, based on her experience and dedication to the school. It's pretty apparent that her heart is here at Whittier. And as everybody knows, and I know personally from being on the board for a while, that we are in one of the best places of all the vocational schools in the state. We have, as you've seen tonight, we have students that are excelling. We have students that come here, as people know, that meet the requirements. Their academic and their vocational skills aren't the best, but within 4 years, they graduate at the top of their class. So it was felt that we want to continue that, to move forward, to keep raising the bar, and we felt that Ms. Lynch would be the best candidate internally and externally to meet those qualifications. So now that's, do we have a second for that?
Yes, we
Second.
do.
Now, we're going to have open for discussion, and then we'll have a roll call vote. Anybody wish to comment or to question things? Mr. Tucker?
I wholly endorse the recommendation of the executive committee.
As to why.
Mr. Burns?
I have some reservations.
Yes, sir.
Not that Ms. Lynch isn't qualified, it's just we haven't taken a look at what else is out there. She's an excellent principal. To take her and make her the superintendent now leaves us a vacancy of principal, just when school's starting. So I'm not sure that it's the wisest thing to do. So I didn't really want to be put in a position to vote against her, but I really would like to see it opened up.
Well, I think I hear you, the rest of the board hears you. You have to vote your conscience.
Right.
I can't tell you how to vote. I'm just one member, you're a member. Any other comments? Mr. Wood?
Thank you. You already know my feelings. It's nothing personal against the applicant. I'm sure she can hope that she does a wonderful job. I just believe that the process, I didn't agree with it, so I didn't want to have to be in a position either of voting against a candidate, but that's the way that it is. So I just believe that the choice was made before the process began. And that's my personal opinion, and I absolutely believe that firmly.
Is this opinion that, if I may speak, is this an opinion that you've just formulated, or is it a change on a previous opinion?
No, I believe that from the start.
You did, okay, because I have knowledge of, several years back, that you were a strong proponent of hiring from within, if you find the right candidate. So,
I don't think your knowledge is correct on that.
You know?
No.
Well, I have an article here from a newspaper that somebody gave to me that stated that in 2011, in the Haverhill School Committee, which you will remember, you were hiring a candidate, or trying to, by the name of Mr. Scully.
I don't know. I'm
And
sure.
there's a quote here from Mr. Velavacqua. It says, "Why do we need to conduct a national search when the man for the job is sitting right here?" Other board members, including Mr. Scott Wood, advocated for Scully to be the new permanent superintendent.
Absolutely. After we went out, where all individuals, both inside and outside, were invited
Doesn't
to.
say that.
I don't care what it says. Look at the record. I mean, anybody can hand you what they want. I'm sure I know who it was, but no, that was actually a direct attack on me, and I will respond to
Not a
that.
direct attack.
Yeah, it was,
I
because
just-
your
I think
recollection
you
is
came-
absolutely not true. In the record with the city of Haverhill, and I'll bring the minutes, we absolutely went out and we interviewed candidates that were not employees of the city of Haverhill. We had numerous candidates. Actually, your former superintendent was a finalist for the position, who was not an employee of the Haverhill Public Schools.
I would like to speak to the motion
Right.
if I possibly could, and I don't think that newspaper article is relevant to our
Well, I don't
current.
But no, that was a direct attack on me, and I was responding
Not a
to
direct
it.
attack.
That was, because it's not the truth. That's a lie. It's not the truth. We went out, your former superintendent was a finalist. The Lawrence superintendent was also a semifinalist for the job, so to say that we kept it
If
internal
that's a lie,
is
then I
wrong.
apologize, but
It's wrong.
I just felt that from the beginning, when you entered the school committee, you had already made up your mind.
You know what? And as did you.
No, I did not.
Okay, well, you're gonna say that
I've been
that's
here-
the record.
I've been here for 7 years.
Okay, that's great, but
Yeah.
to say that you just, to say that that's the truth, when you don't know the truth, and obviously you don't know the
I don't even know what
truth.
somebody gave me, and I don't even know who
Okay,
gave
to
it.
read that and say, though, that that's what I said, I didn't make that comment, I'm not Mr. Bevelacqua, we
And
don't look
I
alike.
apologize for that, okay? I do.
So, but that's
I
a
just-
lie.
I just wanted to get everybody's feelings on the table, so we don't, at the end, say it's dirty pool, or we didn't do it the right way.
I didn't say it at the end, I said it at the beginning.
Mr. Early,
Up until recently, I was thinking the same way, let's go out. I believe we have a good candidate inside. I've done a lot of thinking about this, I've talked to a lot of people, but I made my own mind up, and I'm proud of my vote to support her, Miss Lynch. But I'm gonna tell you something, it was tough, it really was, up until recently. I'm not gonna get into any of the particulars, but I wanna just move this along so we can end it.
okay, are there any other comments? Ms. True?
I also didn't make up my mind. It took me about 3 weeks, and I spent a lot of time thinking, and a lot of sleepless nights, actually, thinking about this, because I feel like it's so important. I have students here. So I began to think about what are the things, what are the qualities that are most important. And in an outside external candidate, you can't really assess if someone has honesty and integrity. You can assess whether they're good at, business, or you can assess that they're good at certain aspects of their job. But can you really assess whether they're committed, or whether they are honest or have integrity? I don't believe so. I think that you find that out through experience. In my town, we had 10 principals in 15 years. I thought each time they were committed, but they were not. We thought they were, though. I also thought that people would be honest, but sometimes they weren't. In this situation, those are the two biggest. I have other qualifications that I think are important that Maureen has, but those two are the most important. She always keeps the students at the focus, and that's what makes her have integrity. She is honest, and she's committed. 5+ years, that's fabulous, because I haven't seen that yet in 15 years as a parent. Thank you. That's all I'm gonna say.
Any other comments?
Well said, Joanna.
We'll move, yes.
Just briefly, we have an eminently qualified candidate in-house. She knows the culture, she's part of the culture. You bring someone in outside, it may be fine, but you don't know for sure. And to echo the words we just heard, it costs us $20,000 at least to go outside. It would delay it into next year, another year for the superintendent to get his or her feet wet. And, if we weren't really sure to bring it forth to this board, then we would have opened it up wider. But we are really, really sure that we have an outstanding candidate, and we don't really want to lose her either.
Yes, Mr.
Just a point, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Being new to this board, I don't know who all the players are, but in my other situation, I would know who represents the teachers in the teachers' union, and I would have a feel of how well this position, this person in this position is received, whether they feel they're competent or not. Can anybody enlighten me on how the teachers representative here feels about Mrs. Lynch and her job with this district? Meaning, is there friction between the teachers and the principal, or is there not?
None.
I have a possible enlightenment. I
Mr.
think,
Tucker.
Don't we have in our packet, a move to ratify the contract?
What's that got to do with?
Well, it has everything. The
Oh, I see.
administration
Yeah.
and the teachers
Yeah.
have signed a tentative contract to bring to us, I mean.
The reason I bring
Yes,
this
sir.
to point is, we had a superintendent in place, and we had a vote of no confidence with him. Right now, it's completely the opposite. They absolutely support the superintendent as well as he supports the
Well,
teachers.
I-
So I'd like to just ask out here, who can enlighten me with that?
Mr. Early.
Check her evaluation.
Doug, I've been on the board now 15 to 16 or 17 years, but I've been involved with the school since 1989, 90, and I had a son graduate in 91. I'm around here a lot, but recently I haven't been. But I see Miss Lynch everywhere when it comes to walking around the corridors, and I come down at all different times. I see her at a lot of functions. I see her at baseball or basketball games. More importantly, I see her around the kids. I have to tell you, we have a boosters club here, which support all the, and I'm just giving them an update of what I see over these years. She's involved with the boosters club. I was involved with them up until 4 or 5 years ago. It really wasn't a good thing. I was still on it, but I chose to help them and help them and help them. Financially, they're in good shape back then. If it wasn't for this young lady keeping this thing going, we'd have nobody. She actually goes to the monthly meeting. Is it on Wednesday night or Thursday night? Thursday night. I didn't know what night it was, but I'm going to be honest with you. I told you up until recently I made this decision, but I've got a big picture of this whole thing, and I put it all together. I put the whole puzzle together myself. Didn't listen to anybody, but I'm going to tell you, she's visible. She's everywhere around the school that I see, and I've been around here a long time. I just wanted to get you clarified on that, but most importantly, the kids are around. She's around the kids. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yes, Ms. Testaverde.
I'd like to make 2 comments. First of all, in regard to a national search. Massachusetts has a very distinct patent for vocational education. We are one of the few states who have high school vocational education. The majority, the vast majority, probably 45 out of 50 states, if that, if not more, have only vocational education at the college level, community college level. So our programs are very different. Opening to a national search, you could have possibly have been getting people who really don't understand Massachusetts vocational technical education. Secondly, Maureen has been on the leadership team as long as Bill has been with us. Where we have come over the past years to be a #1 school, to be a first quality school, the amount of our graduation status, our MCAS passing levels, where we place students in the above 90 percentile of the people going into the military. Our graduates are all placed. Very few do not have somewhere that they are going that we are not proud of. And that has to do with strong leadership, cooperation, and an understanding of our system. And I don't think there is anybody in the school that qualifies or has that kind of knowledge as well as Maureen Lynch.
Yeah, I think we cheated Ms. Lynch by not opening up the whole thing to outside to let her shine the way she would have shined against a larger audience, and it would have answered these questions. I, for one, would have liked to have seen a more open search, but I have no doubt that she would have shown herself extremely well in that. So I'm sorry we didn't give you that opportunity. I think you would have done well with it.
Thank you. Any other?
I'd just like to
true.
respond to Doug's,
Yes.
Member Galena. You asked about her relationship with the teachers, and
Yes, that's really the most important
yeah,
one to
and
me
I just
right now.
wanted to respond to that because I don't think anyone quite has responded specifically to that. My students go here, so I've been attending parent meetings and events here, and I have had the opportunity to see Ms. Lynch interact with her staff, her faculty, and I can see that there is mutual respect between them. I see it every single time, and I know the difference because I haven't seen that at my old district where my children went years ago. I have seen the difference in whatever it is, the way that the way they speak to each other, the body language, and all of that. I see it, and I see the mutual respect that they have for each other. She respects them, they respect her. They know that she has their best interest, that she provides them with excellent leadership and professional development, the highest level.
Very good, thank you.
Want to
I
respond
appreciate
to
the
that.
information.
Any final questions or comments? Okay. In the roll call vote, please vote yes or no. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
No.
Mr. Galena,
Yes.
yes. Ms.
Yes.
Gilbert, Mr. Tucker.
Yay.
Chair votes yes. Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Irving.
Aye.
Ms. Testaverde.
Yes.
Mr. Brass.
Aye.
Ms. True.
Yes.
The chair doesn't have to.
No.
I know. No. Mr. Lesage.
Yes.
Yes. Final vote.
11 yes, 2 no.
11 yes, 2 no. Congratulations.
Having voted in the negative,
Yes, sir.
I'm asking for reconsideration so that
Second.
we can make it unanimous.
Second.
Second?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes. Chair votes yes.
Yes. Aye.
Mr. Irving?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, Mr. True.
Yes.
Yes.
It is
Yes.
unanimous.
That's the reconsideration, I do
To
have
make it
to,
Yeah.
unanimous.
yes. Thank you,
Congratulations.
Allison.
Congratulations.
Thank-
Congratulations.
I just really want to say thank you. You know, I have a lot of love for the school. I have, great respect for the students and the staff. I really want to say thank you to Mr. DeRosa and his retirement. I'm going to miss him terribly, but I'm looking forward to starting in my new role. So thank you. I look forward to working with you.
May I just,
Congratulations.
Maureen, I just would like to say that I don't need you to shine for anybody else. You shine so brightly here that we are very grateful and very glad to have you.
Oh, thank you. That was very nice.
Thanks, Maureen.
Thanks.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Irving, yes.
I'm still looking for votes. We moved at the executive committee, I moved it, Mr.
Yes.
Murphy seconded the fact of receiving the letter of resignation from Superintendent DeRosa with regret, and so I would move that forward for the full committee.
Second,
Second.
any comments on his resignation? None being heard, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, I was just gonna say, when's the last day? When do you drive out
August
the
11th.
parking lot forever?
August 11th.
August 11th. All right, thank you.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
With
Unanimous.
regret.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now moving on, back to the regular agenda, the superintendent's report.
Mr. Chairman, before I
Last report.
do my next to last
Oh, excuse me.
report, if you want it to be my last, that's fine. I'd like to introduce the student rep that's replacing Connor. I'd like her to come up to the podium for a minute. And Connor, why don't you introduce her?
We should have done this half an hour ago.
So the new student representative replacing my spot will be Saffron Fox. She's a junior here at Whittier.
Welcome.
Hi,
What,
welcome.
what area are you in?
I'm taking HVAC, so heating and ventilation.
Where are you from?
I live in Amesbury.
I didn't know that. You know? Well, thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Look
thank you.
forward to working with you in the future.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Big shoes to fill.
Okay.
Superintendent.
Mr. Chairman,
I know.
for informational purposes, in your packet tonight, I have some information on hires, a mathematics instructor, grade 11 SAT prep after-school program, grade 10 math MCAS after-school program, history-based teacher shared website, and evening school. Also included in your packet is notice of resignations for purposes of retirement. I'm just getting to my update. In terms,
Mr. Super, through the chair, the history-based teacher shared is website type thing?
they're designing websites for students to access. at home.
In-house, or they going outside to bring together?
In-house.
But they gotta gather outside material, or no?
Yes, yes, they're designing it. They're actually working on the design.
Thank you.
Okay, next, in terms of a budget update,
Yes, sir.
the communities of Groveland, Merrimack, West Newbury, Rowley, and Ipswich have all voted affirmative on the budget. I'd like to thank the communities for their continued support, and I would especially like to thank the town of Ipswich for their complimentary words last night regarding Whittier Tech from both their school committee and boards of selectmen. The town of Georgetown voted in the affirmative, however, the figure was incorrect, and because the figure was incorrect, it does not count as a yes vote. It was a mistake on their part, an error from the figure that we sent them. On Thursday, we're presenting to the Amesbury Finance Committee, and next week we're scheduled for Salisbury on Monday, May 18th, and Newbury on Tuesday, May 19th. In terms of an MCAS update, Whittier is currently offering a free MCAS after-school program, and over 100 students are enrolled. The math MCAS exam will be administered on May 19 and 20. In terms of my regular update, on Wednesday, April 15, I attended the North Shore Superintendent's Roundtable Luncheon. There was a presentation from Catherine Craven. If you remember, she was our graduation speaker my first year as superintendent. At that time, she was the head of the executive director of Mass School Building Authority. She now sits on the Board of Education, and she came to do a presentation. On Monday, the 27th, I attended the Georgetown town meeting, the Groveland, town meeting. On Thursday, April 30th, Whittier hosted the annual advisory board dinner. I'd like to especially thank Beverly DeSalvo, our vocational technical coordinator, and our culinary staff for an incredible evening, as well as thanking members of the advisory board who give freely of their time to help guide Whittier toward the future. And I would also like to thank Suzanne Bump publicly, the state auditor, who was our guest speaker. On Monday, May 4, I attended the Georgetown meeting, but as I mentioned, that does not count as one of our affirmative votes because of the figure. On Thursday, May 7th, I attended a luncheon with Tom Mortimer from Haverhill Bank. I thank Tom for Haverhill's continued support of Whittier. As you know, they have a branch here at Whittier, and they're also very generous with scholarship money and other donations to the school throughout the school year, and I would like for that to continue. On Friday, May 8th, I hosted a budget breakfast for Haverhill City Council. In attendance was Mr. Mitchison, President of the City Council. We reviewed the budget, discussed programming at Whittier, and I'd like to thank John for taking the time to meet with us. This past Monday, I attended a breakfast with Bruce Tarr, and at that time we talked about Chapter 70 funding. As you know, he is a state senator, and we talked about Chapter 70 funding. Next, Mr. Chairman, is the acceptance of a donation. As you know, according to school committee policy, I need permission of the school committee to accept a donation. The family of Travis Yell is donating a tree to plant in the school in memory of Travis. I respectfully request the school committee's approval for acceptance of this donation.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous.
Do you know where they're going to put it?
Out front, it's going to be someplace out front, near the foyer. Next, Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of school field trips I need approved. One field trip because it's an out-of-state. They're going to New Hampshire. You approved one of their field trips last month. This is the other week's students that are going. They're going to Wilcox Industries in Newington, New Hampshire, and because it's out-of-state, I need a vote of the committee.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
Just
Early?
a day trip.
Yes,
correct?
do we have the right paperwork?
Yes, yes, we do.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Next, Mr. Chairman, I need another school committee field trip approval for two reasons. One, because it's out of state. Two, because it's overnight. This is for our gold medal winner to attend Skills USA in Louisville, Kentucky. And they will be supervised by two staff members. This is from the 22nd to the 27th of June. So I need school committee approval.
So moved.
Second.
Is this one student going?
Yes,
The gold medalist.
correct.
Mr. Early,
Do we have the right paperwork for that? for the
Yes,
family?
yes, we do.
are the parents going with them too?
If they do, it would be at their expense.
Their expense.
Most times, parents do attend when they can.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous.
That's it for my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, sir. The principal report.
Let's see that. Where are we?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. In your packet was a draft of the school calendar for next year. Are there any questions?
Any questions, Ms. Lynch?
Okay,
I got a question.
yes.
All the students are coming in for one day and then they don't come back for the next week?
All the students will come in, it's small print now, and I need the glasses.
Wednesday and Thursday.
All freshman students show up on September 1st.
Right.
And then September 2nd and 3rd, all students come to school. And then the 4th, there's a no-school day, that's the Friday.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't say September 3rd here. Right. Is yours?
No, it doesn't list it. She lists openings and closings. So September 3rd is just a regular day of school.
Oh, I see, okay, I'm sorry, I
That's
apologize.
okay.
Is there a motion on the floor to accept the calendar?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lesage, second by
Second.
Dr.
Oh, yeah.
Testaverde. Any more questions on the, and that's the 180 days and all that? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
I have a question.
Oops, go ahead.
Ms. Lynch, when's the last day of school this year?
June 22nd.
Oh, so it's the same. How many extra snow days
We
did
had 7 snow days.
7? And we have 5 on this calendar, is that
Right.
correct? Thank you.
Yeah, we meet the required 180 school days plus the 990-hour requirement that's required of secondary high schools.
Thanks.
Okay?
Somebody told me that legally in Mass, you can't go to school after June 30.
July 30.
It has to be done
July?
before the next
Before July
fiscal year.
1st.
Yeah.
Fiscal year, you have to get it done, otherwise you go Saturdays and after school.
Right, okay, yeah. No, I never heard of that.
The idea is 990 hours or
Fiscal year.
the other.
Fiscal year changes.
All right. Anything else, Ms. Lynch?
Yes, could I give a quick update?
Yep.
Would that be okay? This is a very busy time of the year. I first would like to invite all of you to Honors Night, which will be held on May 20th at 7 o'clock here in the auditorium. We'll be honoring students for many reasons, including new inductees to the National Vocational Technical Honor Society. Students will get their CNA pins, and also students with perfect attendance and high honors for all 4 quarters. It's a great night for both students and faculty, so we have some light refreshments, so please feel free to attend that event.
What time is that?
7 o'clock.
7 p.m.
Wednesday night?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've been very lucky to have a wonderful senior class this year. Connor's left. He has obviously done very well. We look forward to many senior activities that include, when you talk about our school resource officer, we're doing a mock car crash. Our school resource officer, Officer Landry, with the help of faculty and staff in the Haverhill Police and Fire Departments, will put on a presentation regarding teenagers being under the influence of drugs and alcohol, as well as text messaging and getting behind the wheel of a car. And this is scheduled for May 21st in the afternoon. That's Thursday, May 21st. And then on Friday, our senior talent show, which is always a fun event. The kids look forward to it for 4 years, they tell me, because one year I thought about canceling, and I was told it's tradition. So we look forward to that on May 22nd. And then on May 26th, our seniors will be signing out, and the prom is scheduled for May 26th at Atkinson Country Club. And then, of course, graduation on May 28th at 6 p.m. for the class of 2015. And that's all I have for you tonight.
Any questions for Ms. Lynch?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Khan.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Superintendent DeRosa. I have a couple of things. In your packet, you will see the results of the diesel fuel oil bid. This is one of the things that we put out every year for bid. It is also one of the bids that we typically only get one response for, and that is Edgemont Oil is the successful and only bidder. Don Martin from Transportation, Tammy Dentermont, the comptroller, and I were present when we opened the bids. And the bid is the Boston Daily price plus 19 cents plus state tax. So it's up 2 cents more than it is this year. So it seems in line, and we did go up a little bit in the budget anticipating that fuel would be up. So we like to keep you informed about all of the bids. And so that's the one for the fuel oil, and I'll be coming back to you next month with things like the school supplies, and we're also doing some of the things that were in the budget, the 2 buses and all of that. So those will be updated as they come in. I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I interrupt you, but why were they sent 2 on the back? They're listed twice.
2 people requested the documents. On the back, you get who requested it. They don't always respond. So we will often have times, we put things, what we do is we advertise on goods and services with the Inspector General's office at the state. Mm-hmm. We advertise in the Eagle Tribune, and we give them the information. We also put it up as a link on our website. So there are 3 ways that people can get the notifications of our bids. A lot of people request bid documents, but oftentimes don't return the bid documentation. Either they don't meet the specifications, they're too far away. I don't know what the reason is, but that happens a lot.
Okay. No, I was just wondering why Edgemont was there twice.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry. I have no idea.
It's an LLC and one,
Oh,
they have 2 different names.
you're right. Yeah.
Oh.
An LLC and one's a corporation.
You're right.
Yeah, I don't know why they did. Maybe 2 different people in the company
They own
grabbed the
different
bid.
companies.
Yeah.
2 different companies.
Okay, thank you.
I'd also like to bring you up to date on something that happened in the building. I'm sorry?
Question? It's showing my ignorance, but who's Tammy?
Who's what?
Yeah, I don't even know people by their last name.
We'll put name tags on.
I got it now. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to bring you up to date over something that happened with the metal part of the school roof. On Monday, April 13th, Harry Takezian, our director of maintenance, arrived here at school, and he discovered that roughly 300 feet of metal roof had separated from the building. The area involved is the length of the building that is to my rear, behind the bank, behind the school store, several classrooms. Our insurance agent immediately was dispatched. He dispatched an adjuster to assess the damage, and it was evident to all that the roof had failed as a result of multiple ice dams that had accumulated during the extremely cold winter, coupled with the high winds that had occurred over that past weekend. The metal roofs on this building are original to the building. They were not included in the repair that was done in 2010. They are included as part of the statement of interest. We addressed that as something that does need to be repaired. Of the 3 contractors that we called for evaluation and cost estimates, only one responded and determined that the damaged sections were beyond repair. The initial estimate was $137,000, and we provided this to the insurance company. However, upon further inspection, the contractor soon discovered that all of the insulated materials had disintegrated because they're 42 years old, and a more extensive repair would be necessary to ensure that we'd be code compliant and have a watertight roofing system. So the updated estimate was $233,000. Due to the immediate need to protect the health and safety of students and staff, the work had to commence immediately, and therefore I did submit a request to the State's Division of Capital Asset Maintenance and Management, and they did approve it because we had to circumvent the 30B bidding requirements because we needed to do it right away. I would like to thank Mr. Dekesian and his staff for their proactive response as soon as he found out what was going on, and because of their ongoing efforts to keep everyone safe and the building protected from any further damage from the elements, there were no instructional interruptions during the entire repair process. While we are very lucky that most, if not all, of this repair will be covered under our insurance policy, it clearly illustrates the need for Whittier to maintain a healthy excess and deficiency balance. Had this not been covered by our insurance, we would have had no choice but to use funds from E&D to cover the cost, as our operating budget could never have withstood the expenditure of over $250,000 at this time of the fiscal year. In the event our E&D did not have a healthy balance and did not have sufficient funds to cover such a cost, we would have then had no option but to go back to the member communities and request an additional assessment. So I just wanted to tell you about the insurance claim that we have, the fact that we do have other systems in this building which are over 40 years old, and that is why it is so important that we maintain a healthy balance in our excess and deficiency, and we do that. Are there any questions?
Is there a deductible on that?
The deductible is $5,000, and again, I have not heard back from the underwriter. There may be some residuals that we have to pay for. It's going in against what the code compliance is with the city building inspector. It would be minimal based on the 233, but we definitely will have to pay the $5,000 deductible.
Who was
Mr.
the
Wood, go ahead.
contractor? Who was the contractor?
My goodness. The contractor's the one, Greenwood Industries, they did the roof, the original roof. So they were very familiar with the structure of the building, and I have to say, they were out here within 4 hours to inspect.
Excellent.
Should see reports. Okay. Any questions?
Any questions for the business manager?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now move on to the committee chairs. The first is the appointment under the chairperson of subcommittees. You have that, my dear? What I did is I went through the subcommittees that are present, and I realigned some people to get some of the new members involved in the committee. So I'm going to hand these out now. And please take a look at which committees you're on, and if you feel you don't want to be on that, or you want to be on a different one, let me know. But I try to put everybody on at least one committee. I think it's important that, little by little, we all try to use our expertise in these committees. So I hope I didn't put, yeah, pass that. Because there are 5 committees. There's instructional, plan operations, salary, here's some more. I'm sorry. And the executive. And for all those,
I know.
the chair, the vice chair, and the treasurer are on the executive board. Once these committees meet, you enough over there?
We need one more.
Once these committees meet, they will reorganize and
Yeah.
nominate of their own committee, pick a chairperson, and then that person is automatically a member of the executive committee. So,
Thank you very much. My appointment is well accepted.
okay, thank you. Yeah. I try to put what I know about people, expertise and knowledge, and where they would like to be. Okay, thank you. As I said, okey-doke. Okay, school calendar, we just voted on that. June annual agenda items, policy updates, and we'll vote on a representative and alternate to the MCAS, MASS Joint Conference. It's usually the first week in November down at the Cape. And all members are invited to go. They don't have to be the rep or the alternate. It's very, very informational, and I think, I don't know if Mr. Wood or Mr. Glenn, they have to go to the, or they already,
No, they must already have
You
gone
already
to training
taken
because
the
they're on a
course?
board. Yeah.
What, for new school committee members? Yeah, 12 years ago.
oh, you're all set, yeah. You did yours through Pentucket, so you're all set.
Yeah.
Okay. So next is the instruction personnel. Dr. Testaverde.
At this time, we have not had a meeting, and I spoke with the superintendent this afternoon, and there is not a need for a meeting for this year, but we will be looking forward to a meeting in probably at the October meeting, get school started, look at where we're at. We have no need at this time for textbooks or other issues that will be brought forward.
Right. We have the minutes of the executive committee to approve. Is there a motion?
Move
They're in your
that.
packet.
Move them.
Moved by Mr. Irving, second by Mr.
Yeah.
Gilbert. Any omissions, deletions, or corrections? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Say, no, I wasn't there, so I
And you
don't
would
wanna-
abstain?
Yeah, I'll
Thank you.
abstain.
Mr. Wood abstained. Plan operations, Mr. Murphy.
We have not met, but I believe we need to set up a meeting to go over summer projects.
Yes.
Summer projects. Want to set that up now, or you want to wait till the next meeting? It's up to you.
We got to involve Mr. Tekesian, so. I
Yeah, so
don't-
before the June meeting,
Yeah,
That'd be good.
Okay.
6 o'clock?
whatever.
You need that, need an hour?
yeah. That'll give us time.
Just notify all the members to make sure they can make it. Okay. Policy, Mr. Irving.
Yeah, we have not met, but I'd like to have a brief meeting, anybody on that committee, hopefully like 10 minutes of or something. I just want to check with the superintendent, make sure nothing comes in prior to the summer recess, and also to reorganize.
Okay.
So,
Want to make that
you know,
before the
6:40.
next meeting?
Yeah, 6:45. If anybody's on the other committee that's just meeting, we can kind of slide in before. We don't need much time.
And the school building committee,
That's the ones that
wastewater.
were in our packet tonight.
Yeah. Is that defunct now? We're all clean?
No, those,
No?
no.
What is this?
Those are existing policies, that's all.
Existing policies.
Those aren't new.
Oh,
Just a reference.
We're gonna do that in executive session. Yeah, sure.
Yes.
We need to approve the minutes from executive, from, what do you call it, salary negotiations.
Where were those?
They were.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Yep, in your packet were the minutes from the salary negotiations, 2015, April 14th. And, there's a motion on the floor to approve those.
Motion to approve.
Motion, Mr. Murphy, second. Any question? Well, we're gonna go over those in a executive session, so. Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. And now we have the school building committee wastewater. Is that,
No
We're
need
done.
to meet, we're done.
we're closed out, everything's done?
Right.
We can remove that from the
Yes.
agenda. Meeting dates. Regular school committee meeting is on June the 10th, 2015, next month. At that meeting, we will be discussing the summer meetings.
You have the subcommittees that night.
Yeah.
6:45, you said?
Yeah.
6:45 for policy.
Yeah, we're done.
Under new business, We have something brought up at the last meeting, I told him I'd put it on this month's agenda, on emailing the representatives. Yes, sir.
Okay, there's a couple of things. Emailing is a practice that Pawtucket does for everything that can be emailed versus mailed to save on stamps, envelopes, time and money. And what happens is the clerk for the school committee will email you to whichever email address you choose. We have one at the school. I don't use mine at school. I use my personal one, so it's all wrapped up. So I get all my emails from the business manager to the superintendent to the clerk, any questions and vice versa. It's all done through emails, but any agendas comes in a form of an email. Everything saves the cost of a stamp, cost of a person standing behind a copying machine, the cost of the paper. It's just good, it's good business sense to do this. So I was really surprised that they're not doing it here. So I brought it up to see what other people would think about this.
I personally think it's a good idea. I don't think if somebody wishes not to have it done, we would continue to send it at the normal way, but for those that would like it, I think it would be a great thing. I'd rather get mine by the email. Any other comments? Mr. Tucker?
Well, I'm perfectly open to receiving emails for information, but I still like that, I like to have a packet that comes a few days before the meeting so I can digest it. I mean, the packet
I wouldn't
stuff.
want to get all of this stuff in my email.
No, well, what they do, it's, everybody does it different. That's why I'm putting this out here, so we can discuss it. What they do is the packet is online and they email you a link that you could click on if you wanted to. Now, it's got a good point what he brings up. Everybody at Pentucket is issued a tablet computer. And they do when you see them at the school committee, most of them have their tablets in front of them. A couple choose not to use them. The point that he brought up is good. At the meeting, I request a hard copy of the agenda. I like to have that with my it's just my own personal preference. There's a few others that do it, so the clerk will make that available. But I get
So that's not saving on.
that particular one, but not having to print it out for everybody at the committee, and not having the postage and to put it in an envelope and all the time and energy. But there are, I want to say, 3 people that request a package the day of the meeting. Everybody reads the packet online at their convenience. It's posted in time so they can go on. They're provided with a tablet, which again, that's the way they chose to do it. The only thing I was bringing up tonight is, all these correspondence of when the meetings are and when the meetings change and this and that. There's 15 of us. By the time you put a stamp in an envelope and a man who's charging it, there's a cost to this. Where someone just hits, okay, send. Yes. He's having
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So you don't, I would just want to understand it correctly.
Sure.
You don't necessarily download the whole packet, like at your home or anything, because you have a tablet? You use the tablet at the meeting, is that right?
Right, and that was brought up when they initially went to the tablet. It was made, the committee was made aware of that in the case of a lawsuit, they may subpoena your cell phones or your personal computers. So they decided rather than put anybody through that, they were gonna issue tablets, and that way, if it ever came to that, they're taking school property, not your property.
I like that idea.
And it made a lot of people feel good. At the time, they were spending $10,000 a month on attorney fees. We spend $200 a month right now on attorney fees. Because we have the right superintendent in place. Just for discussion, see what you think about it.
The money we save by not having to search,
No.
we could get tablets.
I think, I like the idea.
We were at a point where lawsuits were prevalent. People got nervous. They didn't want to have their computer taken with all their banking and financing. So the tablet discussion came forward. Then we said, well, if we're going to use tablets, why the heck are we using all these papers? And so it's virtually a paperless society. The only difference is on the day of the meeting, I'm just old fashioned, I like to scratch it off, and everybody else is doing, I bring my tablet, but I do have one copy, but and since I've been on this committee, I think I've received 15 letters. So that means everybody in this room has gotten those same 15 letters. You know, it's the cost. I'm just trying to save the school some money, that's all.
I'm in favor of it. I think, but those that don't wish to do that, I think also have the right to have the traditional. But I would rather get everything on, and I'll just print it out at home when I want.
Well, we're talking about two different things
But
here.
the point that was brought up by Doug is that now your home email is subpoenable.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And that wouldn't be a very good idea.
No.
That's what you want.
I wouldn't want that going to my home. I
Who
would have a,
knows?
school wants to supply me with a tablet, that's fine for my emails, but I wouldn't subject my home computer to emails.
Well, I see, you're right. What about if we say we started with just getting the meeting announcements?
Still public record.
It's still public record,
They
yeah?
come in.
All right.
So if we had tablets, we would have a school email address.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
that
the
is
way they
correct.
do it
Yeah.
there. You would have a school email address, you'd have a school tablet, all
And
correspondence.
you don't use it for anything else.
Encouraged to do it through the
Specific to
tablet.
this job.
And, you know, the tablet's on loan, it's assigned to you, it's got a serial number, and,
Why don't we do this? Why don't we see how much that would cost, and see how much we would save in labor and paper?
Next superintendent.
Well, you know, you're buying so many iPads for the kids. It's the same story.
Right, just like the children.
So,
Yeah, they're just like we're
If
buying for the
April can
kids.
save 70%, great.
So why don't we do that? Everybody agreeable to that?
Agree.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll do a
What
little,
about those
Yes.
of us who would still like to receive? Only because.
Oh, no, I'm saying-
I have to tell you, with my current job of babysitting two small children, I very rarely get on my computer and check my emails.
Well-
I'll get on and I've had emails from 2 months ago. They're at the computer, they
no,
want to
no,
get
as
on.
I said.
can't do it.
Right, as I said, if you wish to remain the way we had it, we can still do that.
I like to feel in touch.
Yeah, well, then that's your prerogative. We're not gonna force you to say, you gotta do it this way.
Use his own paper.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, but like I said, if we get an email of a meeting that we all know when it's coming, or maybe a
Yeah, look at the
postponement of
phones.
it. I'd rather just get an email, look at it, schedule it, my calendar's on it.
Right.
Schedule my calendar, it's done and
Why
gone.
don't we'll see how much the investment is and take a look at the savings. Just roughly, how many people here would still want to get the paper trail? 1, 2,
Maybe the agenda just to
Just
check
the
off.
packet
The
is
other
what I'm
stuff.
interested in most.
That's it.
well, they used, yeah. So probably 3 or 4. So we can factor that into the equation.
Well, why don't you check it out and then come back and we can keep an ongoing discussion. until
Yeah,
this is-
oh, no, we're gonna check it out, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna check it out. Because we are buying some iPads, aren't we?
Lease, we don't buy, we lease.
Yeah, well, same thing.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr.
Just
Tucker.
to offer some history to Doug, a number of years ago, probably 10 or 15 years ago, every member of the Lawrence School Committee got a brand-new laptop. And that was a huge
Custodian thing.
controversy at the time. So ever since then, I think most school committees in Massachusetts are gun-shy. Very, enough time has passed, so maybe now the time is right.
They're
But
successful.
you may recall, that was huge. That was huge.
That was,
You know,
It was huge.
Yeah, it was. That was
To be
10 years
honest,
ago.
the freshmen and sophomores have started with the iPads. We're setting a standard. We are setting up, teachers are coming up with ways to utilize. We should be setting examples, saying, you're right, we're in the modern
Yeah.
age. Here it is. It's the cost, but it's also a convenience thing, and it would make things a lot easier for a number of people.
Yeah.
So
No,
It
I
sets the
agree.
right trend for the
Yeah.
school.
And we don't own them, it's the schools.
Right, it's the schools.
Absolutely right.
the only thing that would be on it is stuff
School business.
related,
Whittier.
would
Yeah.
be Whittier stuff. Okay, I could
Yeah.
probably handle
You like the
that.
students?
Yeah,
I only have school stuff on there.
I think that's
Tony,
true,
you've
too.
seen those kids.
I know, I have.
Okay.
I also be done with
Is
it.
this, I'd like to talk about the role of the clerk for the school
Kids
committee.
will
Yes,
help her.
go ahead.
Okay. I sent an email out to the clerk.
Guys,
Mr. Burns,
this
please.
kid, he hasn't finished yet.
This is another subject. I sent an email out to the clerk requesting an email address. What I got back, I was kind of surprised with. It was a letter requesting all correspondences to go through the superintendent. Now, I can only go by what my history is. I don't know what your history is. But the school committee, and as I'm told, hires or pays a stipend to have a clerk or a secretary, so we can reach out to that person for information as we need it. Now, if I'm not right, please correct me, but I found it difficult that the superintendent has to have his day interrupted just so I could get the business manager's email address. I thought it was, it didn't need to go there, just,
Well,
now, am I wrong?
protocol at Whittier, and obviously, in my experience at most schools, is that the administrators, including the business manager, even though we report to the superintendent. And any information that anybody would want is available, but the protocol is either go through the superintendent or through the chair. And I don't know of any case where anything was denied.
Well, I'm not asking the superintendent's secretary or administrative assistant to give me something. I'm asking the school committee's administrative assistant to give me something. And I am a school committee member. And
Right, but
I
that-
feel as a checks and balances.
Right.
I have some rights as a school committee member.
Right.
And I don't feel that I need to bother or care to talk to the superintendent for every little question I may have. I get questions from the politicians in town. I get questions from parents in town, and I try to diffuse these as easy as I can without bothering everybody in the line, including yourself, Chuck. I could send a letter to you. You could send a letter to her. She could send a letter to him. It could all come down. I don't feel it needs to. I don't think it has to. In our community, we have an open transparency system, and if I have a budgetary question, which I'll bring up next, if I have a budgetary question, I literally email the business manager. He gets me the information, sends it back. That's it. I can take care of whoever has a question. A month ago, I talked to the business manager, and I asked her some questions. I said, I'm being asked about providing transportation for school of choice. People in my town, in my community, don't feel we have the right to do that. They feel it's illegal. And I said, so what I'm asking you is just please provide me with something in writing that says it's legal. I said, I'm being challenged on the meals we're putting out. Since I've been part of this district, I know of 500 meals that have been served here. The money that comes to the school is for education, it's for teachers, it's for the students. It's not to be throwing these meals. This is the way it's explained to me. And by my explanation, I don't think I was forceful or rude in every way. I said, please, just give me something that I could take back to them and say, look, this is where they feel they're in the right. If you don't accept it, take it to the next level, and we will. That's all. And I didn't receive nothing in over 30 days. Now, most of you know, tomorrow there's a meeting in West Newbury. They're bringing all the selectmen, the business managers, and the public from all three communities. Their questions. What did I ask? I asked about what is the rationale for paying the transportation cost of student choice? If I had answers to these questions, this meeting would not have taken place. I'll be attending this meeting, and I wish some of you will. I certainly hope Mr. Mansfield, and I certainly hope you will, from Merrimack. This is going to be an ugly time. It's going to be an ugly meeting. And all I asked was for transparency, some simple information to say, this is where they feel they're in the right. I could put my opinion to it, one way or the other. Chances are that's as far as it would have gone. But it didn't. I didn't get my information because the superintendent takes a guardian position over this committee and over this school. We don't, other districts don't share that way. We have an open door policy. We're allowed to ask questions. I'm not asking names. I don't want to ask, I'm not going to say this teacher or that person or this student. What is the budget for this line item? Can you show me that? Can you explain that to me? They want to know why this is being done. Answer the person that's asking me the question, it goes away. But when people are being told they can't have these answers, this is the result. It's ugly. This is the way Pawtucket used to be. It was ugly. We don't operate this way anymore. We have a full support of the towns, the community, and the teachers. And I think going forward with the new superintendent, I hope she's more in tune to the transparency, the open door policy. So if you have a question with your tablet, you can shoot off that email and get a simple answer, or get a simple email and not be shut down because this gentleman wants to run the whole show. I don't support that. I wouldn't support that. He works for me, he works for you.
I'm just taken back completely. I was on the Georgetown School Committee for 9 years.
Yes.
I've been on the Whittier School Committee for 12 years.
Yes.
I have never once ever heard anyone say that Whittier has in any way hidden information. As far as the budget goes, we go through hours and hours and hours of public discussions. Bill goes to every town. We follow every single legal.
Perhaps I misspoke. What I'm saying is when I asked a question, I'm sure you have questions too. I think at some point you just want to ask a basic question. Please send me this email. It doesn't have to go that far. That's people putting the fence up. That's people saying, I don't want to talk to you. That's all that is. I understand about the budget. I know how hard these are. I've been on a school committee myself. I know what, before this, I know what it's all about. And transparency is the best policy. It's their money. They want to know where it's going.
I think I answered you in regard to their money. You keep saying it's their money, they want to know where it's going. Yes, it is all public documents. And I have never once ever called the superintendent in my 11 years on this committee and ever not had a question answered or not had an open door to go in and speak with him.
Well, then this committee's different, because when I send a letter to the secretary of the school committee, I would like her to send an email with a phone number or an answer to a question. I don't feel I need to go to the superintendent, but if the committee here is going to support this behavior, I don't see it changing.
Why should it?
Mr. Galino, I'm just overwhelmed because as far as Whittier has gone, we are considered one of the most top-notch vocational schools in the state. We're within the top 5 and even the top 3.
Well,
And
I'm hoping that's true. I would invite you to come to the meeting tomorrow night and see what 3 towns have to say about this school. I hope what you say is true.
3 towns. Mr. Murphy.
I'm just trying to get you people to open up and see what other people see this as. And all what they want is some information to say, they got questions. They want to know if you're spending the money right. If I had a piece of paper to show them, this never would have happened. This meeting never would have happened.
Yeah, I did.
Mr. Delano,
Yes, sir.
there's 11 towns and 14 members here.
Right.
If we all went to the secretary, the business manager, or who else, it would be out of control
Chaos.
without going through the superintendent.
disagree.
And he
We
would.
have- we have
he-
9,
excu-
and I disagree.
Excuse me. And he would be left out of the loop. So if someone else, one of the people that you're trying to respond to, called him, he would have no idea what was going on. And he would be, you would and he wouldn't.
Yeah.
I
Come to the meeting and enjoy what we're gonna go through then. And that's all I can say.
I've been on this committee
At the
for
very least.
13 years, and I've never had a problem.
Could have come to me and said, the superintendent would like to speak to you about this. Okay, yes, all right. Yeah, we're gonna give some, nothing came my way in 30 days, nothing.
I've been here for 13 years, and I've had a lot of questions, and I go, sometimes I get directly through to Bill. If he's out of the office or in a meeting, he replies back to me. He calls me back, as soon as possible to give me the answer. I wouldn't even think about going around him, only because,
For an
like I
email
said,
address, I'm going around him for an email address?
I don't
That's
know.
a stretch, sir.
I don't
That's a
know.
stretch.
What's in the email?
What's an email? I just asked for an email address.
You obviously want to put something in the email to go to somebody.
That's leading to something else.
I asked for the email address to the business manager. I wanted to follow up if she had any information so I could talk to these people.
And the stuff on the website?
Okay.
Yes,
Well-
I'll need it back though.
The other question here is,
Of course you may.
why aren't they asking us for this information? Why are they
I
having,
have-
why are they
that's a
having a
good question.
why are they having a meeting amongst themselves when they should be coming to us if they have questions?
Well,
We-
the selectmen started this, you would have to talk with them.
Well, I will.
Selectmen invited us to their campus.
Yeah.
This is not something we started. This is the selectmen. They reached out to other selectmen. And they have questions. Can I sit back for 1 minute? Their agenda basically reads that every town is gonna have 2 minutes to speak. This is their concerns, and this is what I was hoping to diffuse.
Right.
Consider an open or revised admission policy for in-district students. That's there's 3 towns. You can say 1 town. We don't
No,
have to
I
list them all.
understand there's 3
There's
towns.
3 towns. This brings clout. Consider not accepting choice in students let me read that right. Consider not accepting choice in students in future years. Right? What is the rationale for paying the transportation costs for choice students? Could have had an answer for this.
Call the state, call DES.
Discussion of the need for the size of the current central office administrative staff.
That's not.
Okay. They're questioning how
Yeah.
big the operation is, the cost of the school. So why they chose to do this format, I would say they're ramping up for something bigger. I don't know. But it's gonna be ugly. I wish it didn't have to happen.
He's right.
Mr. Early.
It's gonna happen regardless of what it is.
Doug, you have a lot of information there. I've gotten 3 or 4 of those letters, and I just got one recently from Merrimack, business manager, I believe, at Merrimack, asked me to go. I probably know a little about this stuff, but every time I do call the superintendent, he gets back to me. I might not agree with some of the answers, but it's got nothing to do with it. But I will tell you one thing. See that audience out there? We have meetings all the time now. I just saw you a little while ago talking to a gentleman.
Sure.
I felt kind of insulted, but I haven't got much of an education. But I'm gonna tell you something. This meeting is posted all the time on the website.
He's a resident of Merrimack.
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay.
I'm a resident of Haverhill. I was just in the Merrimack Town Hall. I saw a posting down there of a meeting down here, all right? So he doesn't know what he's talking about. And neither do a lot of people that are gonna go to that meeting tomorrow night. They can come right out here at our meeting.
I would encourage Mr. Mansfield and the Merrimack rep to be there to answer
All right, but
questions.
let's go
I
back.
have to be there because I'm on the Pawtucket
All right,
School
but let's
Committee
go back
and
to what
this
I'm
committee.
saying. This stuff is all posted. There's a budget down there in the town of Merrimack. That gentleman you were talking to doesn't even know there was a budget there. He wanted one sent to his house personally. It's not there, it's at the town. Haverhill gets one, every town gets one. All right, so this stuff isn't being hidden, all right?
I didn't say it was being hidden.
No, but he said it's not posted, but regardless, it doesn't matter. And the other thing about the school choice.
He's on the administrative board for the school.
Yeah.
If he's having trouble finding when these meetings are, I would listen to that gentleman.
Well, go to the town hall, they
I'd find out,
posted.
find out why he's, that's
Well,
all.
I think we're getting too far here.
Discussion.
I would say to these individuals, selectmen, whatever,
Okay.
kind of reiterate what we said. If you have anything you want to know, come here and we'll answer them. I don't see why we have to have them have I look at this as a separate meeting to discuss what, they can find every answer they want right here. We're not gonna lie to them. Everything's open. Why do they have to ask themselves questions? If anybody has a question, they can call me, they can call the superintendent, or they can come right here, public comment. Say, I don't like what you're doing. We'll be more than happy to tell them. But for us to have to defend what we're doing, I don't think that's right. Because we're, you just told me it's gonna be an ugly meeting. Why is it gonna be ugly?
Ugly?
Everything
What's on the
is
agenda?
open.
When you have 3 towns,
Right.
first of all, 3 towns in one community, that's ugly in itself. But when-
You're right. You're right.
You're right. No, you're
Have you been to
right.
a selectmen's meeting?
Yeah, we
And they're
have.
all from the same community. I've worked in this town, I know what it's gonna be like. But the questions they have here, to me, there's not a lot of substance to them. But if I were able to say, look, this article here says this, and again, if the superintendent wants to control that, fine, he knew what my questions were. She shared them with the superintendent. Nobody got me any information. So that's not transparency, Mr. Chair, that's not transparency
I
at all.
agree. I agree
You
that.
knew my questions, now I gotta go there, I still don't have anything in writing, so it's gonna be a witch hunt tomorrow, it's gonna be ugly, I'm gonna use that word again.
No, I understand it.
And,
Well, I would think this committee will have to, discuss this, I can't make up it's up to the wish of the committee, that as far as, yes.
Charlie, I just wanted to add, in regard to the admissions policy, as I said, I've been on this committee for over 11 years. We have had this same question come up about our admissions policy probably.
For 20 years,
Maybe before me.
right, Bob?
Our admissions policy is passed and guided by the Department of Education. We are called a selective public school. There is criteria. There is no open admissions on a selective public school. The department.
There's 2 ways they can do it at a selective public school. I forwarded that information to the chair, and he'll agree with me. You could even be taking what I'm looking for, a lottery. You could accept your students here by lottery, and you can accept them by, setting your limits and your grades. The complaint that these people have is, and it's gonna come through tomorrow again, I'm gonna read this article right here real briefly, just to give you perspective. Just as we talked about, first time I've seen you, Miss Testaverde.
It's Dr. Testaverde.
Dr. Testaverde. First time I've seen you, I don't know how long you've been here, but Whittier's per pupil cost is $18,000, but it receives $5,000 per school of choice, student from the state. I've spoke to this already. The
That's
rest of
true.
the committee know. They feel that the other 11 communities are subsidizing your school of choice. You're picking up the cost, and that's it, right. Now, again, if you say 1 town complains, no big deal. 2, this is 3 towns. It's gonna get public, it's gonna be in the news, and it could grow. It should have been stopped.
I hear you. I think we'll have to take this under advisement and decide what the protocol is now and whether we should change it or not. You got any further comments, Mr. Superintendent? No? Yes.
I know, the school choice issue, Doug, with the $5,000. We're getting $5,000 for an empty seat. Your towns are not subsidizing those kids. The communities that are vested in this school are paying for the building, they're paying for the staff, they're paying for everything else that comprises this school.
The leaders of these 3 towns.
Well, then you need to
differ from you.
explain to them that.
Then come on to the meeting and explain to
Oh,
them.
you to it.
They feel if you work they want to see the school filled with their own community children.
Then-
That's what they're fighting for.
Beef up the education of their own kids, and this year, we didn't have to exclude anybody.
beef up the education. Last thing I'd like to bring.
Yes.
Last thing I'd like to bring up, and then, it came to my attention that Mr. Gilbert, MASC, represents his school committee. It's a conflict of interest. His wife is on the board. I think we should send a letter to the MASC to send another field director out to represent this board.
I think
Actually,
he'd
Doug,
probably be
excuse
very
me.
happy.
Excuse me. I was the chair on that, and I asked to have Mr. Gilbert come.
Thank you.
For this, well, I gotta say the spade is spade. I asked Mr. Gilbert to come for the superintendent, some clarification for us in which direction to go right at the beginning when we got notice that Mr. DeRosa was leaving. But I was the one that asked Mr. Gilbert to come.
Okay, again, I still feel it's a conflict of interest.
He wasn't charged, he
Right.
just gave
The
us
questions that he provided were the direct questions asked to the three
I wasn't
candidates.
saying that, I said I was the one that
So,
brought him.
these are the
He
questions.
didn't
I don't
provide,
stay up at night, come up with these.
No, no.
questions, All right?
can I just explain that?
Yes, go ahead, then we're moving on.
He did not come up with those questions. MASC, Massachusetts Association of School Committees,
Right.
comes up with those questions. He provided them to the chair.
As
The
a-
chair
that's
chose
right.
which ones he wanted to
I think it was
use.
a boiler list, I think they should have come up with their own. Those questions should have been shaped
That's
around
then-
what this committee wants. for
And that's what
superintendent.
our questions were
Right.
afterwards.
Well, listen,
You
we're not
have
gonna solve this here tonight. He's made his point.
I
We
think I'm
we will
back.
think about it. Well, we will take it under advice. He has his right to voice his opinion, and we'll discuss it at a later date. I think we have to move on. It's getting a little bit late. We do have need for an executive session. So,
Can I,
what?
Mr. Chair, on
Yes.
the contact list for all of us, and I brought this up last year too.
Yeah.
On my email address.
Okay.
It's hard to know that that's Elena underscore Gilbert, because there's a line under the whole thing. It's just the underscore between Elena and Gilbert. So if, I know Doug said he had emailed all of us when he first got on. I never received anything
No,
from
no,
him, and maybe
no.
because my email is,
You misunderstood. I emailed the superintendent.
you said you sent me an email. I'm sorry, and I didn't get it. So
Well,
anyway,
whatever.
but
We can fix that.
just so if anybody needs to reach me, it is underscore.
All right. Let's move on.
Thank you.
Time is good. I need a motion to enter an executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining as an open meeting may have the detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the school committee, and upon completion of the executive session, we will return to open session.
Mr. Chairman, clarification?
Yes.
In the minute, in the agenda, it says to discuss strategy with respect to litigation.
And restate what we want.
Oh, well, that's an error.
Okay, thank you.
To restate.
Restated in the executive session. We're going to executive session to discuss respect to the strategy of collective bargaining with the contract issues.
Thank you for the clarification.
Mr. Early,
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. Galina,
Yes.
yes, Ms. Gilbert,
Yes.
Mr. Tucker,
No.
Yes.
yes, Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde.
Yes.
Mr. Bradley, yes. Ms. True,
Yes.
Mr. Burns.
Yes.
Mr. Lesage.
Yes.
Take a 5-minute recess, please.
Mr. Chair.
Well, we're back in open session,
Close the rock
everybody.
during executive session.
There's a motion on the floor to accept the contract for the next 3 years between the teachers and the school committee.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I think it's roll call.
2 abstentions.
Is it roll call?
No, not an open session.
Okay.
Is it roll call? No.
You can call for, you don't need it. but
You have to
can
call
for a
it,
roll
yeah.
call if you want.
You want a roll call?
Roll call.
Okay.
Roll call.
Mr. Early, abstain. Mr. Wood?
Abstain.
Mr.
Yes.
Yes.
Lina?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Aye.
Aye. Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Bradley? It's true.
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.